Welcome back to Earth Chronicles, Book 2, The Blue Woman by H.G.Shuler. Chapter 6. As much as she tried not to give in to them, Nova couldn't stop herself. There was just something about sentimentality and nostalgia. So, there she was, sitting on the back patio, out of sight, falling into the disillusionment that things could definitely go back to the way they were before she tragically died on a Rochester sidewalk. Her death had garnered a lot of local attention. The article in the Rochester paper said, "No one knows why these things happen. We must trust that God has a plan. The town is praying for you, Mr. Logan Paul. Lots of hugs and kisses to you and your surviving family." Suddenly, she finds herself plunging into the gut of the past, plunging and accessing unexpected emotions. She had noticed signs of change in her committed relationship with Logan even back then. Her beauty and wits had reeled him in. However, her relationship skills had always made things a challenge. She came by them honestly. Her parents had a rocky relationship, her grandparents too. Neither marriage lasted long term. Because of that, she had always considered her marriage a success. But when her husband and best friend went on a temporary fling, she had packed a suitcase, had it sitting by her at the bus station. When she realized it was her own fault, that she was terrible at relationships, she left it sitting right there. She never went back to retrieve it. The suitcase, along with their short-lived affair, was left in the past. In time, the situation melted into what it was. She remained married. Therefore, in her mind, she was successful. She never even let on that she had been wise to the affair all along. Her computer mind can't stop overthinking it. It's one of the drawbacks of literally being a computer. She remembers the pressure of their relationship, like the current in a river brushing against your legs. The water has to back up before going around your legs. Logan had always been the easy, flowing water. She was the leg making him back up and go around. She wishes now that she could go back. She wishes she had had the courage to get on that bus, to free Logan and Sky to a better life. A few months after their affair, Sky up and moved to New York, claiming she needed to be closer to her agent and publisher. As always, she was just being the good person, making sure she didn't end up stealing her best friend's husband. Nova sits on the back patio where no one can see her blueness in skin color and in state of mind. She sits all alone, feeling invisible, like she has made a wrong turn, went down the wrong road, and is suddenly lost, the distance too far to turn back. "Damn the sentimentality and the nostalgia," she whispers out loud. Then she stands up and looks around a small backyard, surrounded by a wooden fence in need of repair. While she glances at a calico cat that has slithered through an opening in the fence, her computer mind is remembering everything in perfect, artful detail. She wants to shut it down, to escape this sense of loss, this recalling of the past. It's at this moment that she reaches a conclusion. The very essence of her loss, her failure, her past, is making her decide on a different future. Her new, extraordinary circumstance, along with her rapidly changing personality, is now at this very moment impelling her to liberate her husband and herself. The reality is that now she is a different person with a different life. This time she was not stopping at the bus station, she was getting on the bus. For something like an hour, she had been transfixed, recalling detail after detail of her earlier experiences before her death. All of these reflections were now fluctuating and vibrating in her mind like the ripple of a stream. She needed to break the flow of information because she had had enough. Just as she was starting to turn her attention elsewhere, she hears a voice. "You're some kind of phenomenon, the likes of which the world has never seen." When she turns to look, she sees a woman and a familiar-looking man standing with Logan. "We meet again, Nova." When she realizes who the man is, anger starts building inside her. It was Simon, the dermatologist, the one who had made her the center of all this trouble. Quickly, she glances at Logan, her eyes demanding an explanation. At first his head cowers, then snaps back up as he speaks. "Look, Nova, you have to understand. These people are here to help us. He motions with his forehead. This is Cassidy, the CIA agent I was telling you about. And, well, you've met Simon already. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention to you yesterday that he's with Homeland Security. The dermatologist thing is just his cover. She moves her eyes to Cassidy. Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to discussing my situation with you. Her eyes now are on Simon. When I saw you, my first impulse was to hurt you. I'm glad you didn't. I would have been forced to repeat a habit of mine. What's that? To defend myself. I would think you would know by now that you can't defend yourself against me. Yes, well, that's one view, I suppose. It's the only view. I could render you unconscious right now if I wanted to. Why is it you want to hurt people? I don't want to hurt people, only you. My instincts tell me you're here to cause me more trouble. That's up to you. I've just come here to get a read on who you are and find out if you're a threat to anyone. She steps toward him, the anger now blazing in her eyes. No, you're lying. Stop trying to feed me that crap. I just read correspondence on your phone between you and what appear to be other field agents. You plan to take me, to lock me up. The higher-ups have ordered it. You're just a puppet doing the dirty work for someone else. She turns back to Cassidy. I already know you're not involved in this. The digital information on your phone indicates it. Simon tricked you. You need to understand that those working with him. She glares her eyes at him once more. His thugs have the house surrounded. They came ready for a fight. Cassidy turns in quick order to Logan. Sorry, it seems I was double-crossed. She starts punching away at her phone. I'm sending a text to my operations officer right now. Next, she turns to Simon. You got something you want to say to me? Well, all she's getting is a smug look. Doesn't matter. In another minute, I'll know everything from your case officer to your spy handler. That is if you have one. His smug face turns to a smile, then into a laugh. You're not going to like what your superior tells you. We'll see about that. He laughs again, short and loud. You're nothing more than an intelligence analyst in the boring lower departments. The only reason we even let you be here today was to get me in the front door. All you're good for is interpreting raw data and making reports. You're a freaking coffee fetcher. She slouches against the casing of the back door, looking into her phone. You've got to be kidding me. This can't be happening. My operations officer is telling me to stay out of it. He says you have extremely high-level clearance. Good. I think we've finally got some clarity now. There's more. She looks at him hard, her brow rising. You've got diplomatic immunity? Sorry, guess I failed to mention that. What are you, like some kind of James Bond? He works for another government. Nova chimes in. He's special operations. He's assigned to cases where two countries have a vested interest. It's all non-official, of course. That is, unless he gets discovered. In that case, he pulls the diplomatic immunity card. Simon is not at the mercy of anyone. I think it's safe to call him a double agent, since technically he's working for the interest of two countries. Apparently, according to what I just uncovered on his phone, he spends a lot of time at the Russian embassy. I guess we know the other country involved. He started as a language officer. Since he knows 7 languages, they decided to train him as an operative. He's proficient in clandestine espionage and spying. You can probably guess the rest. Cassidy pushes herself away from the door casement. Okay, Simon, you play me pretty good. What's your next move? If she comes peacefully, there is no next move. This ends here. What do you plan to do with her? He looks at Nova with utter amazement in his eyes. You have all the strangeness of a new species. Such remarkable features and coloration. We need to know how you came to be, what's all coiled up in that brain of yours. You probably think we're going to hurt you, but that's simply not the case. She edges closer to him, tilting her head, analyzing him up and down. What you're saying is you want me to voluntarily be your guinea pig. We prefer test subject, and yes, we want you to come peacefully. We're not here looking for another tangle with you. Then why did you bring the cavalry? You can do things, Nova, things that no other human can do. 2 years ago, you were dead, and now you're back, and he holds his hands out, palms up toward her. Just look at you. We might find a secret to curing heart disease or cancer. Who knows, maybe even all illnesses. Surely you can see the importance of that. I asked you a question. Why did you bring so much backup? You have automatic correspondence prepared to alert some 20 armed agents. One touch of your phone, and they come crashing through the door. You're not a threat, Nova. At least not now, but if the wrong rebel group gets control of you, no one is going to get control of me. If it were only that simple. Truth is, we can't. Can't what? There are collections of people, rogue groups who would do the U.S. harm. Some we know about, others we only know of through unsubstantiated intelligence. Rumors, if you will. That doesn't make them less real. This is all about a race. We can't take the chance they get control of you before we do. You don't work for the U.S. You're a Russian agent. In this case, we are the same. Our two countries have many of the same enemies. We collaborate on certain matters in which we have a vested interest. You already know that. You were at the Cafe Sasso before you knew about me. How? Tell me that? How did you know to be there? I can't tell you everything, Nova. I don't have authorization for that. But I'll tell you what I can. I was hoping not to have to mention this at all, because... Tell me, Simon, or I swear I'll walk away from here, probably disarming and giving each of your agents a migraine as I leave. Just relax, I'm getting there. We didn't know anything about you, Nova, until that day at the cafe, and that's the truth. We did, however, have Logan under surveillance. We've had a mole for a while now at Tomorrow Tech Incorporated, where he works. Since he works out of his house, we keep a man on him. Where he goes, we go. We got wind about a year ago that Tomorrow Tech Incorporated was nearing completion of new kind of computer. The chemical computer wasn't supposed to exist in its completed form for another 25 to 50 years. So we placed the mole. It soon became apparent that Tomorrow Tech Incorporated had ties to some unsavory people, and that within their own company there was a cover-up taking place. Logan unknowingly was part of that cover-up. He's one of their brightest minds, so when they placed him in charge of the research team for developing the chemical computer, no eyes were raised. It was brilliant, really. All they had to do was give him inferior help and a lousy budget while hiding the fact that they had a second research team. So that day at the Cafe Sasso, we were watching him, and incredibly, we found out about you. There's more to the story that I might as well tell you, because I don't want you to think I'm trying to hide anything. You're pissed off enough as it is. We swooped in a few hours late on the chemical computer. The unsavory people I mentioned, they're good at what they do, really good. The technology is in their hands now. Nothing we can do about that. Something interesting did happen to us along the way, though. A few days ago, our man at Tomorrow Tech Incorporated placed a micro-audio surveillance device on Logan's shirt. Later, when he was back at his house, we intercepted a conversation. It was Logan talking, but not directly through the device on his shirt that he had taken off and was probably in the clothes hamper or laying on his bed. We had unexpectedly tapped into another audio surveillance device. Someone was bugging his home. We don't know who that is at this time, but we're working on it. Point being, we found out Logan had a little secret of his own. All this time, he had been developing the chemical computer from the privacy of his own home. Simon turns facing Logan. Looks like we got ourselves an elaborate game of make-believe. You've been working on the computer a long time. No doubt you've had a lot of practice hiding it with a straight face. Lying about the computer has become a force of habit, like brushing your teeth. You had us duped, which I must admit I sort of admire. As impressive as your lying abilities are, there's two things you need to understand. First, wherever you hid the computer will find it. All of this can go easier if you just turn it over now. If you do, I promise no charges, and if you're willing to help our computer geeks, no interrogation. I can make all of that happen. The second thing is this, and you need to listen closely because it probably means your life. The people that bud your home are not your friends. They're dangerous, and they know what you've accomplished with a computer. They also know about Nova. There are leaks in every organization, including ours. It's part of doing business in the 21st century. What that means is there are at least 3 other organizations that know about you and Nova, maybe more. Each of these entities are in an all-out race to get your computer technology and to somehow secure Nova. Sooner or later, one of them will accomplish it. So you see the clock's ticking. With us, at least you two know what you're working with. I doubt you want to fall into the hands of a non-government entity. Logan pulls out a green plastic chair from a patio table, while at the same time scratching the side of his head. I think I need to sit. He lays his phone on the table, and everyone watches as it suddenly lights up, flashing and vibrating. When he picks it back up, it's a text message from Sky. Did you know there are men in suits camped in your front yard with a machine that looks like a generator? There are some more men coming from across the street. I can hear the machine now. It's humming, so I guess they just turned it on. What's going on in there? Did the power go out? Are you in trouble? I've got a text from Sky. Should I answer it? Simon reaches for the phone. Who's Scott? He's getting no answer as the room falls quiet. I said, who is Sky? He snatches up a device and starts reading the text. She's an old friend of mine. She's visiting from New York, Nova says calmly. Where's she right now? Logan. He hands Logan the phone back. Ask her where she is. He takes it and starts punching away. We're fine in here. Homeland Security is paying a visit. Are you sitting in your car parked on the street? Yes, and very intimidated by all the activity. She says she's sitting in her car, parked on the street. What's she driving? It's an SUV, a Chevy, I think. What color? White. Simon holds up his phone, speaking into it as if it were a handheld radio. Grab the girl in the white SUV sitting on the street. Whatever you do, don't let her escape. No excuses. What do you want us to do with her? A voice spews back out of the phone. Isn't it obvious? Bring her to me. In under a minute, two well-dressed, burly men fling open the front door, dragging Sky along with them through the house to the back door. Once outside on the patio, they force her into a seat next to Logan. Simon orders the two men to stay put, then kneels in front of Sky. Who sent you? She pokes her finger out. So, you're the commander of this outfit. Or is it Misfits? Anyway, I don't know what you're talking about. And your goons rip my shirt. Her arm moves up, revealing a tear in her long sleeve pullover. I bought this at Coney Island. Cost me like $35. Who's going to pay for it? The shirt is the least of your worries if you don't start talking. I'll ask again, who sent you? And stop trying to be cute. Maybe you should read my lips. I told you I don't know what you're talking about. Fine, play the nonconformist role. We got lots of mavericks behind bars. I can keep you in lockup for as long as it takes. My guess is you'll start talking after about 24 hours. God, you're such a butt. You can't hold me. I haven't done anything. Sure you have. Take your pick. International art theft, narcotics smuggling, commercial fraud, or the one I've been using a lot lately, cybercrimes. I can hold you for 6 months just by charging you with any one of these. And when Homeland is through with you, I can move you over to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. I can keep you in jail at least a year without having to prove anything. I don't think I can let you take her in, Nova interjects while walking over next to Sky. She places her hand on Sky's shoulder. While we're on the subject, I've decided I'm not letting you take me either. What happens to Logan is up to him, but if he chooses not to, then I guess you're not taking any of us. Simon stands up. Moving slowly, he places both hands over his nose and cheeks. They are tilted vertically as if in a praying position. At the same time, he's audibly sighing. 5 seconds later, he moves his hands from his cheeks down into the pockets of his suit pants. His face points downward at his feet. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. Nova, I'm sorry, I truly mean that, but the choice is not yours. His face moves back up, slowly plotting, like he's having to drag it. I don't like having to do this, but I'm taking all of you to county lockup. From there you'll be transferred to a more secure location. Nova squeezes Sky's shoulder, glances down at her, then over to Logan. Like I said, I'm not letting you take any of us. We got the place surrounded. How is it you appear so calm? For the same reason you appear nervous. You've seen what I can do. If you lay a hand on any of us, I'll attract all electronic devices from as far as a block away. That should be sufficient to take out all your men. If not, I'll magnetize all metal objects within a half-block radius. By the time you and your pathetic goons wake up from the shellacking, we'll be long gone. So, if you want the worst headache you'll probably ever experience, go ahead. Make your move. Simon gives out another dreary, long, monotone sigh. Later, when this is all over, don't say I didn't try to reason with you first. He lifts his phone. For the second time, he speaks into it like it's a handheld radio. Operation Blue Nova is in place. I repeat, Blue Nova is in place. His hand with the phone falls back to his side. He attempts a smile, but quickly goes flat. In only seconds, 10 more sharply dressed field agents come swooping around the side of the house. He points adamantly. Takes these 3. Try not to hurt them if you can help it. Do you hear me? I don't want them hurt. Nova lifts both hands outward, palms up. She is making her move, but nothing is happening, so she yanks them down, then back up, closing her eyes in concentration. Still nothing is happening, so she repeats this a third time. The agents have now seized Logan and Skye and have latched on her. "What have you done, Simon?" she screams, attempting to pull free. "Before I tell you, I want you to know that any of the others hoping to get you into their hands would have eventually done the same thing. They would have found your weakness and exploited it. You have the ability to corral unlimited amounts of power from the ions naturally emitted from the Earth. It's an amazing thing, and we have no clue how you do it. That being said, we do have machines that can manufacture ions. We also have some brilliant minds working for us. Using the technology available to them, these men and women were able to come up with a machine that can block the negative ions being released by the Earth. We are currently blocking your power source in a 1,200 feet by 1,200 feet radius. Before leaving the premises, we will outfit you with 100% rubber shoes and specialized rubber clothing. These will continue to block the Earth's ions. So as much as I hate to say it, Nova, you and your friends are now our prisoners. I have to give you credit, you've calmed back down. Maybe this will go smoothly after all. There's still some things you don't know about me, Simon. You're going to find out sooner or later, so I guess now's as good time as any. You think I'm human, and to a large degree you're right. Unfortunately for you, I also have the DNA of insects, reptiles, and animals. Later, when you get over being astonished, you can ask Logan how it's at all possible. Did you know that heavy-lifting ants can pick up to 5,000 times their weight, that they can withstand incredible pressure? Reptiles are no slouches themselves. Their climbing and running abilities far outperform that of any man. And what they can do with their teeth, well, you really don't want to see. Animals come with the pre-installation of incredible instincts, including what to do when they are threatened. All of these abilities are within my DNA makeup. It's at this point I give your men one opportunity to release me. You've heard me say this before. Do you remember in the Cafe Sasso? This is your last chance. I don't want to hurt anyone. Nice try, Nova. However, I think we'll take our chances. Right now, I think they look pretty good. Later, don't say I didn't try to talk this out with you. In a swift move that catches the agents holding her off guard, Nova squats, twisting her body, smoothly and forcefully pulling her arms free. The agents immediately try to gain back control, but she shoves her hands forward, connecting with each of them in the chest, lifting and tossing them with ease through the air. The effects are astonishing. They whirl upward some 10 feet before crashing down on the concrete slab and sliding hard into the house. 2 other agents move in, but she smoothly, gracefully ducks and rolls, coming up behind them. They are overmatched as she suddenly kicks her feet, whipping them, one after another, disabling their legs from behind. The sound of breakage can be heard bursting outwards, piercing the atmosphere of the backyard. Their feeble attempt has been quickly eliminated. More agents start to move in. This time they hesitate, frozen by the fear of visual carnage. They watch as she smoothly ducks and rolls away from them, coming up directly in front of Simon. Like an angry wolf, her eyes have turned a glowing, penetrating blood red. Her mouth opens in a vertical and horizontal diameter 3 times the distance any human could possibly manage. Her carnivore teeth expanding like a massive, telescoping knife. A deafening roar explodes from her mouth, blasting steam straight out like some all-consuming force. Simon squirms in panic and moans pathetically, unable to move his feet as the steam and fright mix together and blast unmercifully into his face. Her huge animalistic teeth are only inches away, and the heat coming from them are an instant reminder to Simon that he is at her complete mercy. After a second roar that nearly causes him to fall, she twists smoothly, moving downward, ducks and rolls, coming up 10 or more feet into the backyard. When she springs up to her feet, she instantly gains traction, blasting across the yard to the wooden fence. Although the fence stands some 8 feet in height, she easily springs to the top of it. Briefly looking back, her red, glowing eyes can be seen sparkling amid the mass of her neon blue body. They lock onto Simon just before she disappears to the other side. Shaking nearly uncontrollably, Simon staggers in place, his whole body now vibrating from fright. He moves his head slowly like he's afraid of what he might see behind him. Finally, he plops himself down at the plastic table, working hard to coordinate his breathing. The agonizing moans of his field agents are careening off the back of the house, backing up and sifting into his face. They are gasping for every breath, fighting the constant, sustained pain. Simon gazes around, feeling at his pants pockets, then his coat, looking for his phone. When he realizes he's holding in his hand, he sighs and moves it up to his face. He presses a button on the side. Call 911. We got 4 men down. I repeat, we've got 4 men down. Call for help. Another chapter is finished. Stay tuned for Chapter 7 of The Blue Woman, Book 2 of Earth Chronicles by H.G.Shuler. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next segment on YouTube.